After making people's ears bleed for years, I finally discovered a simple fix that improved my solos overnight. This is Shred, and today I'll reveal my 3-step process to solo over anything. Using basic music theory, we'll infuse our licks with meaning and purpose. Find the key, choose the right scale, and even target specific chords, turning every note into part of the story. Come with me as we explore melody, rhythm, call and response, shred techniques, and more. Get the full tabs for this lesson, all of my courses, Discord, personal feedback, live classes, and more at my Patreon page below. Just cost your soul. Now let's get into our first example, which is Fade to Black by Metallica. Check it out. Now, step 1 in my 3-step process is to determine the tonic pitch. The tonic pitch is home bass. It's the note that sounds like you could end the song on. The best way to find the tonic pitch is by using your voice to hum. Let me demonstrate. Okay, now here, it's coming back around, right? So that's our tonic pitch right there. And you have to find that now on the guitar, right? Oh man, that's not it. Nope. Nope. There it is. Good. Okay, so we found it. Now, once you figure out the tonic pitch in step 1, step 2 is to figure out if the song is major or minor. And the way you do that is by playing a major or minor scale starting on the tonic pitch. Let's try the major scale first. Oh man, I don't think this is working. Let's try minor now. Yeah, there it is. So far, we've determined the tonic pitch in step 1. Now, in step 2, we figured out that the song was minor by playing a minor and a major scale based on the root note or the tonic. Now, there's one more step. Step 3 is to figure out what the chord progression is. And once I know the key, we're in A minor, I can kind of guess, or at least make educated guesses at what the chords are going to be based on the root note. So you can kind of listen to the bass guitar, and if you hear the bass guitar playing an A, bass guitars always play the root note for the most part. So the only chord that starts on A in the key of A minor is A minor, right? So let's go through this. We got that's our first root note. So that's our A minor. And then where does it go next? Okay, next it goes to a C. So in the key of A minor, C major is built on that note, right? How am I figuring that out? Well, what I'm doing is I'm playing every other note from the scale, right? So starting on C, if you play every other pitch, you get C, E, and G. That's how you make chords from scales. Now let's see what comes next. So far we have the A minor, and then we have the C major, and then let's see where it goes. It goes down to G. So that's going to be every other note within the key of A minor, G, B, and D. So that's got to be a G chord. Let's see where it goes next. It goes all the way down to E. So E played in the key of A minor, E, G, B, skipping every other note in the scale. So that's how you figure out the chords. So check this out. Here we are in Guitar Pro. That first chord was the A minor. Play it like that. And then we went to C major, right? After that, it was G. Let's get our G in there. And then it went down to E minor. Now, the reason we're doing this is because you're going to play better solos knowing the chord progression. And I'm going to demonstrate this in a second. Random noodling tends to occur if you don't understand the harmony or the chord tones that you should be emphasizing. But you don't have to know the chord progression to get a solo going. If you're at level 1 when it comes to all of this, just begin with the minor pentatonic scale. So the minor pentatonic scale goes like this. And we're going to play, I'm going to show you the entire pattern here. It goes like that. Okay, good. This is A minor pentatonic. And now what we're going to do here is just solo randomly using that scale. And I'm not going to think anything about the chords or music theory, none of that shit. Yeah. It's glorious. Okay, that wasn't probably my best solo ever played, right? But I didn't really have much to go off there. I'm just kind of playing random notes within this minor pentatonic box. I'm just repping some bends, but it kind of sounds like shit. Now, in this next solo attempt, I'm going to try to target chord tones and use some specific techniques to see if we can take this to the next level. Now, hopefully that sounded a little bit more sophisticated to your ears, and I'd recommend the first place to start if you want to take your solos from that random noodling pentatonic box to something that sounds more like music is to work on rhythm. So I'm going to take my metronome here, and we're going to set that to the tempo of this song, which is roughly 112 beats per minute. You guys should be able to hear that. And what you want to do first is work on the subdivisions that happen at this speed. So first you have your quarter notes, which is 1 note per beat, right? Then you have eighth notes, which is 2 notes per beat. Next we have eighth note triplets, which is 3 notes per beat. After that, you have 16th notes, which is 4 notes per beat. Finally, we have 16th note triplets, or 6 notes per beat. The reason I emphasize rhythm is because even if you play notes within the scale, if they're out of time, they're going to sound like shit. So a good exercise is just to not really think about the notes you're playing at all, but just try to be in time. In that example, I played a lot of notes outside of the key, but your ear kind of buys it because they're in time. Now, you may have heard this phrase, following the chords, and in this segment, we're going to talk about what the hell that actually means. In Fade to Black, the first chord is A minor. If you were to follow the chords, you're going to play a tone that's contained within this harmony. Now, there's 3 tones contained within an A minor. You have an A, a C, and an E. So if you follow the chords, you're going to be playing one of those 3 pitches. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be playing them right there in the first position. You could select an A here, or maybe an A here, or an A here. Doesn't matter. You have C's all across the board, right? Or your final choice is the 5th E. That's what it means to follow the chords, to play the tones within that specific harmony. Now I want to show you an exercise to practice following the chords. We're going to be playing half notes or 2 beats for each note. So an example might be, I start here on the root of the A minor, and then we go up to the root of the C, and then the root of the G chord, and the root of the E. Okay, so let's try that first, just playing the roots. One more time. Now once you get the roots down, you can mix it up. You can try playing thirds, you can try playing the fifths. Again, the central point here is just to play a pitch that's contained within the backing chord. Another way you can practice your soloing is with technique. This is going to take what we learned about outlining chords to the next level. So let's say we want to select finger tapping as the technique. What you could do is come up with a system. And by system, I mean a formula here that you can transpose to different pitch centers. So let's say this is our system. We have this shape. Right? There it is. That's one full bar. But we're going to take that from A minor to C to G to E minor. So we're going to play it on each one of the chords. So that first one is going to be the C. So I changed the notes to major, and then we're going to go to a G. A little bit different pattern there. And then we're going to go E minor. And that's technically an E minor 7. Now, I want to go through my 3-step process with another track just to solidify this concept. Let's have a listen to the track. Now, it's a totally different vibe than Metallica's Fade to Black, but the same process applies. So step 1 is going to be determining the tonic pitch, the note that sounds like home. Oh, I think that's it right there. Oh, we'll go up an octave. Where's that note? Oh, that's not it. Oh, right there. Where is that? There it is. So that's a G. So once you find that tonic pitch, what you have to do for step 2 is figure out, is this song major or is it minor? And to do that, you play a major or minor chord on the tonic note. Let's try a minor chord. That ain't it. So our next option, of course, is the major. Okay, so that fits with major. Now sometimes it will be a different shade of major or minor, in which case modes are going to apply here. So this mode here is actually Lydian, and you can do that by following your ear. So you can hear that Lydian that fits, right? Okay, good. There isn't really a chord progression of this song, so what you could do is just play your home bass G and then emphasize the tendency tone of this mode, which is that sharp 4th degree C sharp. So there, we've got the sharp 4, resolve it to the major 3rd. Beautiful. From there, the next step again is to kind of rhythmically improv, just to get a grounding in this tempo. And then from there, we might play a couple of licks. Like, let me show you a cool pedal point lick here. Let's see, how does this one go? Right as the track stops. Okay, here we go. Something like that. Ooh, that one's tasty. Or how about some neoclassical licks here? Let's try one of those. One powerful concept in soloing that everyone should know about is call and response. This is the idea of making a statement, posing a musical question to the audience, and then answering with a response. So the first question or statement might end on a note of tension, and the final, answer or response might end on a tone that's more settled to resolve things. Right, so the first part, that question, and then I used a sequence to end on that major third there, which is more settled. Another way to approach soloing is to play a melody. So you're not so much thinking in terms of licks and runs, but in something that you could sing back. It's like what a vocalist would do. Now, when you craft licks, an important thing to be thinking about is tendency tones. In G Lydian, I mentioned that C sharp is our tendency tone. The C sharp is what separates the Lydian mode from the regular major scale. So that's how you select a tendency tone. As you say, how is this scale different than the regular major or minor scale? And that is going to be your tendency tone. So when we come up with a lick, let's say we come up with like a tapping lick, something like this, and this is a quintuplet, so 5 notes per beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to make sure that we have that tendency tone in there. And here we've got G, D, A, and B, which outlines a G major chord, but we want to get that C sharp in there too. Kind of play around with the scale a little bit there. Now let's see how that sounds against the track here. Oh yeah. If you're in my modern guitar mastery class, your homework is to write a 30-second solo over the fade to black chord progression. Do your best to follow the chords, use call and response, melody. You could use techniques, get creative with it. At the end of the day, there's only one musical rule. If it sounds good, it is good. Full tabs for this lesson will be at my Patreon page below. Can't wait to hear what you guys come up with.